The legendary Bitcoin halving is upon us. It's rapidly approaching. But the problem is you are being lied to about the halving and what its potential impact is on the price of Bitcoin. There's a lot of theories out there all over the internet, but some of it is being spread like wildfire, and it's poison to your ears because what they're saying is a complete lie. In today's video, I'm going to present the clean, cold, hard facts in the charts, and you are going to leave this video with a sense of clarity and a sense of peace as to exactly how this has happened in Bitcoin's entire history. We're going to look at this upcoming halving, when it's going to happen, but we're also going to compare the 2012, 2016, and 2020 halving because they all had the exact same patterns. If we look at these patterns, we know exactly the patterns that are about to play out before they happen. Welcome, I'm Steve. Here we deliver honest, sponsorship-free TA with genuine value. Subscribe for a no BS approach that actually helps you. Subscribe. Here we are. We're on the Bitcoin monthly chart, and there is a lot going on that is very, very exciting. Let's start with these white lines. Do you see this white line right here in 2012? That was our halving. Next one was 2016, this white line right here. That's exactly when the halving happened. In 2020, this white line right here is exactly when the halving happened. And here, 2024, this white line is precisely when this halving is going to happen. Now, all four of these halvings have so much in common. Right before the halving happened, it was the same patterns that led into the halving and the same patterns after. Take a look at this. So this halving happened to be in phase 2 of the bull. 2016, the halving happened to be in phase 2 of the bull. 2020 happened to be in phase 2 of the bull. And 2024, we're in phase 2 of the bull right now. But what happened right before then and what happened right after then is where all of the secrets lie. Take a look. Bitcoin had its market cycle top back here in June 2011. Then we entered a bull flag. A bull flag is technically, we have resistance at the top of our channel and we have support at the bottom of our channel. We have multiple touch points on the top, multiple touch points on the bottom, and that is a bull flag. It's an incredibly bullish thing. We happen to have a bull flag here and here and here and most recently here. But what happened right after the bull flag is we had a golden cross. A golden cross is when you go to the daily chart and you put on the 50 moving average and the 200 moving average, and you look for the 50 to cross back above the 200. It's a very bullish signal. It's a big momentum shift. And every single time we were in the bull flag, we broke out of the bull flag with a golden cross. We did so in 2012. And we had this bull flag back here in 2014, broke out with a golden cross. We had this bull flag back in 2018 that broke out with a golden cross. And most recently, we had our bull flag break out with, you guessed it, a golden cross. So the exact same formula, the exact same techniques, the exact same patterns are repeating itself time and time again. But what happened after the golden cross? We entered phase 1 of the market and then phase 2 of the market. Phase 2 is when we had this halving. Tilt your phone to the side and subscribe. So we had bull flag, golden cross, phase 1, phase 2. Bull flag, golden cross, phase 1, phase 2. Bull flag, golden cross, phase 1, phase 2. Most recently, bull flag, golden cross, phase 1, and we are in phase 2. One of the things that's popping up all over social media is that the halving spurs this huge rally in Bitcoin because of the supply shock, etc., etc. That's completely untrue. If it were true, we had this halving in 2016 and we were at this price. How come the price fell afterwards? And how come it took many months to recover? How come we moved sideways for like 5 months? If the halving spurs this big rally, it would have happened right at the halving. So we have to look at the facts. These same patterns repeat, but these cool, fancy headlines in the news will put these out and people will drink the Kool-Aid and they will act just like the herd. I don't want you to do that. What I want you to do instead is base things on actual facts. Another thing floating around social media is like, hey, Steve, this time is different. We've got the ETF. We're going to have a new all-time high before the halving. Really? Let's look at the facts in the charts. Did we have a new all-time high before this halving? Hell no. We weren't even close. How about in 2016? Did we have a new all-time high before this halving? Hell no. We weren't even close. Actually, when you take a microscope and you look a little bit closer, we're pretty much the same type of price range with every halving. If you look at this all-time high and you go down to where price was around the halving, we were right around here, right? We're right around about 50% below that price, meaning we had this all-time high, and when we had our halving precisely at this candle, we were about 50% below the all-time high still. If you take the next one, and if you look at where we were relative to the halving was about this price, and we're once again 40 to 50% below that all-time high. And we start getting a little bit closer here. What you notice is that when we were here in this halving, we're still 40 to 50% below the price. So is it possible that Bitcoin makes a new all-time high before the halving? Anything is possible. But is it probable? No, it's not probable. If you look at all of these halvings, we're precisely 40 to 50% below their previous all-time high, and they were in phase two. So we should expect more of the same, not some extraordinary explosion that's never been seen before because, quote, this time is different. I've been making videos on YouTube for 7 years. And for 7 years, they've been telling me not to compare this cycle to the previous cycle because, Steve, this time is different. And every cycle plays out precisely the same. Why? Because humans act on emotion, and humans are so predictable with their emotions. Ridiculously predictable. Humans cannot control their emotion when it comes to money for the history of mankind. So we have these cycles that are repeating patterns. But it gets very interesting when we compare what's happening here with the RSI below. Now keep in mind, the RSI has a range from 100 to 0, okay? And when you're down below, that's the most oversold place in Bitcoin's history. And when you're up here above, it's the most overbought place in history. And you may say, well, why would everybody sell at the bottom and buy at the top, Steve? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense because humans can't control their emotion for the history of mankind. This is a bona fide fact. So what you want to do is do the opposite of the herd, but it's incredibly hard to do because of emotion. That's why everybody buys near the top and sells near the bottom, right? If you go back in time to what was happening during this time period in June 2022 until December 2022, when price of Bitcoin was around 15,000, 16,000, 17,000, we were at literally, quite literally, if you look at the facts, literally the most oversold place in Bitcoin's history. Literally, we'd never been this low. This is all of Bitcoin's history. We had never been this low. And it's easy to look back now and be like, yeah, that was the market bottom. We were the most oversold. But 80% of people were completely against me. I was yelling at the top of my lungs that the bottom is in, and it's highly unlikely we go to 10K. Everybody was waiting to buy at 10K. They sold here. But what happened? We never reached 10K. In fact, I'll roll a clip. Roll the clip of what I was saying when we were at 15,000, 16,000. The charts that I studied and the charts that I've been studying for years and years and years are saying that the bottom is in, and your wake-up call is, even if the bottom is not in, is more risky to be out of Bitcoin right now than in Bitcoin because there's a higher probability that the bottom is in. So if you're waiting for prices to dip below 10K, I don't think it's ever going to happen. So what you want to do is go based on the facts, not what we guess is going to happen or what we hope is going to happen, especially not what everybody is chanting in social media. Don't drink the herd juice. Whenever people start chanting things as if it's a certainty, it's not going to happen. For example, a certainty in this bull run, a certainty according to the high majority is that we will reach 100K. Be careful of certainties. So here's what I'll say. This line right here in the RSI has just breached into this channel. This is so important. I want you to focus on this. So above, we're going to compare these patterns to what we're doing in the RSI. So these patterns above, we talked about it. We had a bull flag, we had a golden cross, phase 1, and we are in phase 2. What we can say unequivocally is that this is our first run up into this zone since our market bottom. That's not my opinion. These are just facts. We had our market bottom. This is the first time the RSI has reached into this zone. Bona fide fact. What happened in past cycles when we had our first rally into this zone? Well, let's go back and let's look. We had our bottom of the market here in 2015, and we rallied for the first time into this zone right here in June 2016, which, by the way, was right before the halving. And again, these are just facts. That's why you've subscribed to my channel. We just talk about the facts and you can actually understand what I'm saying and it actually helps you. I'm not telling you what you want to hear. I'm not trying to hype things up 100x this, 1000x this, $1 million Bitcoin. No, it's just a no BS approach, straight facts. That's why you subscribe. This is quite literally the first time we rallied up into this zone was right before the halving. And here, the first time in 2019 that we rallied into this zone was before the halving. So we can say, okay, in 2016, we rallied up here before the halving. In 2020, we rallied up here before the halving. Here we are today, rallying up into the zone before the halving. So can we expect Bitcoin to plow through this zone? It's definitely possible. Definitely possible. Anything is possible. But is it probable? We understand that it's possible, but maybe not so probable. But how probable or possible could it be? What I want you to look at is the second zone. We have the first zone here that's at about 67. And the top of our zone is at about 73. Now, if you look at that 73 zone, not only did we have it as resistance with our double top in the market, but if you look even further back, we had a lot of trouble with it here. We held it as support momentarily in February 18 near our market cycle top, and we held it on our run up here as support here. We held it as resistance back in 2014, and we held it as resistance back in 2012. So we have 12 years of data to suggest that this 73 level on the monthly chart in the RSI is so critical. And what we can also see is that Bitcoin has never broken above the 73 zone unless it broke into phase 3. We've never done it in phase 2. Look at phase 2 here. Again, phase 2 is when we have the halving. Phase 2, did we break above this zone? No, we only broke above it here after the halving in January 2013. That's literally the candle that broke into phase 3. After the halving, above phase 2, okay, in phase 3. How about 2016? When we broke above that zone here was here, after the halving, in phase 3, okay? 2020, when did we break above this zone? After the halving, in phase 3. So when should we expect to break above this 73? We should expect it after the halving in phase 3. I know it sounds unreasonable. I know it sounds crazy. Bitcoin has been on a rally. Bitcoin is causing a lot of hype. Bitcoin is gaining the attention worldwide. Everybody is saying, hey, we could have a new all-time high before the halving. I get everything that was just said. All of those are possibilities, but they're not so probable. What's more probable, based on just data, is that Bitcoin has a break into phase 3 after the halving. That's more likely. Why? Because we didn't do it once, we didn't do it twice, we did it literally for Bitcoin's entire history. That's how it's played out. So we should expect that. Most people have this mind-boggling eclipse that happens where they say, you know what Steve is saying is reasonable. It's based on the facts. But how the hell is Bitcoin going to wait until after the halving to break into phase 3? I think we're going to break into phase 3 tomorrow or the next day. Again, it's possible, but not so probable when you look at all the facts. Bitcoin has been repeating the same patterns for years and years. So a new all-time high before the halving is not so likely. Possible, but not so likely. It's more probable that we reach a new all-time high after the halving, specifically around the summertime in this year. We should reach a new all-time high. And what's also interesting is if you look at the halving until all-time high, it's very interesting. We have 100, basically 100 to 200 days. Here is our halving. It took us about 100 to 200 days to reach a new all-time high. Here, 2016, we had our halving right here. It took 100 to 200 days to reach a new all-time high. 2020, this was our halving right here. It took 100 to 200 days to reach a new all-time high. Where most people are like, you know what? After the halving, the next day, the next week, new all-time high. That's not how it works. 100 to 200 days, like clockwork, for the history of Bitcoin so far. Is this time different, or is it more of the same because humans have a very difficult time with emotion? Hit that subscribe button. I'll see you back here in the next video. This bull run is our road to 500,000 subscribers, but I need your help. Today, tell one person about our YouTube channel, how we spit facts, go against the herd, take no paid sponsorships of any kind. Road to 500,000, let's go.